Hi guys! Welcome sa enginerdmath channel. Sa video na to ay tuturo ko sa inyo ang evaluation and operation on functions. So kung gusto niyo itong matutunan, just keep on watching. Okay, so meron na akong video about functions and relations as well as domain and range of functions. So kung di nyo pa yung napapanood, ay ililink ko na lang para ma-check nyo. So ngayon ay tuturo ko naman sa inyo kung paano mag-evaluate at kung ano-ano ang pwede nating maging operation sa functions. Okay, so let's start. So sabi, to evaluate a function of x, say f of x, at a value, say a or f of a, substitute the value a to all x's in the function. So, halimbawa, meron tayong function of x which is denoted by the notation f of x. Actually, pwede rin itong ma-denote as another variable, let's say y. Same lang yon. And then, we can let this f of x any algebraic expression as long as the independent variable is x. Kasi, yun yung nilagay natin dito sa loob ng parenthesis. So, yung nasa loob ng parenthesis, siya yung independent variable natin. For example, f of x or y is equal to, let's say, x squared plus 2x plus 1. So, ito yung notation natin for function. Itong f of x, siya yung magiging dependent variable or yung y. Kasi pag ginrap natin itong function na to, f of x, meron tayong ordered pair na x, y. So that is why pwede tayong mag-graph ng functions in rectangular coordinate system. Kasi meron tayong mabubuong ordered pair kapag nag-substitute tayo ng isang value sa independent variable x. So kapag mag-substitute tayo ng value sa independent variable x, yun yung tinatawag nating evaluation of functions. So ibig sabihin, yung x nyo dito sa f of x, papalitan nyo ng value. Sabi dito, let's say yung value daw ng x ay a. Pag ganon, ilalagay nyo sa loob ng parenthesis yung value na, let's say, magbigay tayo ng number aside from variable a. Let's say, pangalanan natin yung a ng 2. So, f of 2. Ibig sabihin nun, lahat ng x nyo doon sa function representation nyo in terms of x, ay papalitan nyo ng value ng number nung nasa loob ng parenthesis, which is 2. So, in our example, magiging 2 squared plus 2 times 2 plus 1. And then, pwede nyo nang masolve yung value nitong function. Kasi nga, number naman na yung nasa x nyo. So, parang 2 squared is 4, plus 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 4 plus 4 plus 1 is 9. So, yung ordered pair mo na mabubuo this time ay, since sinubstitute mong value nung x ay 2, then, yung nakuha mo namang value nung y or f of x ay 9. So, therefore, meron ka ng point na 2, 9. Okay? So, ayun yung concept ng evaluation ng function. So, para siyang input-output relationship. So, pag nag-input kayo ng value doon sa x, then ipaprocess ng function yung input na yon, and then, ang magiging output niya ay yung mismong value ng f of x or nung y. Okay, so para ma-illustrate natin ang pag-evaluate ng function sa isang value, ay mag-solve tayo ng examples. So, if f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 5x minus 2, find a f of negative 1, b f of 2, and c f of p plus 3. Okay, so, ganun pa rin. So, sulat ko muna yung given. F of x is equal to 2x squared plus 5x minus 2. So, sabi dun sa a, f of negative 1. So, ibig sabihin, yung x natin dito na isa-substitute doon sa lahat ng x ng function na given natin ay negative 1. So, therefore, we have 2 times negative 1 quantity squared plus 5 times negative 1 minus 2. So, substitute nyo lang yung negative 1 doon sa x's nyo doon sa function. So, we have 2 times negative 1 squared is 2 times 1 plus 5 times negative 1 is negative 5 minus 2. So, we have 2 minus 5 minus 2 or simply negative 5. So, therefore, f of negative 1 is equal to negative 5. Next, we have f of 2. So, this time, 2 naman yung sa-substitute natin doon sa bawat x ng function. So, we have 2 times 2 squared plus 5 times 2 minus 2. So, we have 2 times 2 squared is 4 plus 5 times 2 is 10 minus 2. So we have 2 times 4 is 8 plus 10 minus 2. Therefore, we have 8 plus 10 minus 2 is 16. So therefore, f of 2 is 16. Next, for C, we have f of p plus 3. So this time, hindi lang number yung isa-substitute natin, but also with a variable p. Actually, binomial siya. So pwede pa rin yun. Yun yung actual na value na isa-substitute nyo dun sa x ng function. So we have 2 times yung x natin, papalitan natin ng binomial na p plus 3. So p plus 3 quantity squared plus 5 times p plus 3 minus 2. Then apply nyo lang yung pagsisimplify ng binomial or any polynomial. So we have 2 times square of a binomial. So we have p squared plus p times 3 is 3p times 2 is 6p plus 3 squared is 9 plus distribute 5p plus 15 minus 2. Then we have distribute uli. So 2p squared plus 12p plus 18 plus 5p plus 15 minus 2. Then further simplify by combining similar terms. So we have 2p squared. So 12p plus 5p is 17p plus 18 plus 15 minus 2 is 31. So therefore, f of p plus 3 is equal to 2p squared plus 17p plus 31. Okay? So just like numbers, meron din tayong operations and functions, namely addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So ito yung representation natin. Let's say we have f plus g quantity x, it is the same as f of x plus g of x. So pwede nyo i-distribute. Okay? Same as f minus g quantity x, equal yon sa f of x minus g of x. Tapos, f of g quantity x is equal to f of x times g of x. Then, lastly, division, f over g quantity x is the same as f of x over g of x, provided that g of x is not equal to 0. So, yun lang yung meaning nun. Kung addition, mag-a-add tayo ng dalawang functions na f and g. Kung subtraction, magsusubtract tayo ng dalawang functions f and g. Pag multiplication, mag-multiply lang tayo ng functions f and g. And division, mag-divide lang tayo ng functions f, g. Okay? So, para ma-illustrate, mag-solve tayo ng examples. So, if f of x is equal to x squared plus 5x and g of x is equal to x plus 2, find a f plus g of x. So, dito na lang. So, f plus g of x is the same as f of x plus g of x, right? So, a-add nyo lang. So, yung given natin na f of x ay x squared plus 5x plus 6 plus yung g of x ay x plus 2. So, combine similar terms. So, we have x squared plus 5x plus x is 6x plus 6 plus 2 is 8. So, therefore, f plus g of x is equal to x squared plus 6x plus 8. Okay? Next, we have f minus g of x. So, we have f minus g of x is the same as f of x minus g of x, right? So, substitute nyo lang. So, f of x is x squared plus 5x plus 6 minus x plus 2. Huwag yung kakalimutan yung parenthesis, ha? Kasi kailangan yon. Kasi operate natin yung subtraction. So, we have x squared plus 5x plus 6. Then, distributive, negative x minus 2. Then, combine similar terms. So, x squared plus 5x minus x is 4x. 6 minus 2 is positive 4. So, therefore, f minus g of x is equal to x squared plus 4x plus 4. Okay? Next, we have f times g of x. So, multiplication. So, f times g of x is the same as f of x times g of x, right? Substitute natin. Ano yung f of x? X squared plus 5x plus 6 times g of x, x plus 2. So, i-FOIL lang natin. So, sa x muna, we have x times x squared is x cubed plus 5x times x is 5x squared plus x times 6 is 6x plus sa 2 naman, distribute natin, plus 2 times x squared is 2x squared plus 2 times 5x is 10x plus 2 times 6 is 12. So, combine similar terms, we have x cubed plus 5x squared plus 2x squared is 7x squared, plus 6x plus 10x is 16x, and then plus 12. So therefore, f times g of x is equal to x cubed plus 7x squared plus 16x plus 12. Okay? Next, we have f over g of x sa division. So f over g of x is the same as f of x divided by g of x. So substitute nyo lang. So we have f of x is x squared plus 5x plus 6 over x plus 2. Okay, so pwede ba itong ma-divide? So factor out natin tong taas. So x, so we have 3, 2, plus over x plus 2. Cancel. We have x plus 3. So therefore, f over g of x is equal to x plus 3. Okay? Next, we have g of 6 times g of negative 1. So this time, may mga value. So pwede pa rin yun. So g of 6 times g of negative 1. So mamultiply daw natin itong g of 6 sa g of negative 1. So substitute natin. So g of 6 muna tayo. Ano yung g of 6 natin? Yung g of x natin ay x plus 2, right? So we have g of 6 is equal to, substitute natin yung 6 doon sa x ng g of x, which is x plus 2 nga. So we have 6 plus 2. So dito yung x, sinubstitute natin ng 6, tapos yung plus 2, yun yung given. So we have x, 6 plus 2 is 8. Next, g of negative 1, we have negative 1 plus 2 or positive 1. And then multiply natin silang dalawa kasi yun yung pinapahanap. So we have 8 times 1 is 8. Okay? So therefore, our answer is positive 8. Next, we have f of 5 plus g of 2. So, sabihin, add down natin yung makukuha nating value ng f of 5 plus g of 2. So, hanapin muna natin yung f of 5. Di ba ang f of x natin ay x squared plus 5x plus 6. So, substitute natin yung 5 dun sa mga x dun sa f of x natin. So, we have 5 squared plus 5 times 5 plus 6. Simplify. 5 squared is 25 plus 5 times 5 is 25 plus 6. So, we have 25 plus 25 plus 6 is 56. Next, g of 2. So, ang g of x natin ay x plus 2, right? So, substitute natin yung 2 doon sa x. So, we have 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. And then, add natin. So, we have f of 5 plus g of 2 is now 56. Yun yung f of 5 plus g of 2, which is 4. We have 56 plus 4 is 60. So, therefore, the answer is 60. Okay, next. F times G evaluated at 2. F times G of 2. So kapag minultiply daw natin yung dalawang function, i-evaluate natin sa value na 2. So 'di ba nakuha natin yung function value, yung value ng function na minultiply natin kanina, yung f times G. Ano 'yon? Ito 'yon, 'di ba, yung x cubed plus 7x squared plus 16x plus 12. So, therefore, pwede na nating i-substitute dito yung 2 dun sa bawat x. So, sulat ko lang dito. So, yung f times g of x natin is equal yun saan? Dun nga sa x cubed plus 7x squared plus 16x plus 12. Then, pinapahanap ay f times g of 2. So, substitute nyo ngayon yung 2 dun sa bawat x nung f times g of x natin. So, we have 2 cubed plus 7 times 2 squared plus 16 times 2 plus 12. So, we have 2 cubed is 8 plus 7 times 2 squared. 2 squared is 4 plus 7 is 28 plus 16 times 2 is 32 plus 12. So, we have 8 plus 28 plus 32 plus 12 is 80. So, therefore, f times g of 2 natin is equal to 80. Okay? Next, meron din tayong tinatawag na composition of functions. So sabi, we can also evaluate a function at other functions. To do this, we can substitute the entire functions into the other function. The process is called the composition of functions, denoted by small circle in between two such functions such that f circle g of x or f of g of x. Okay, so itong composition of function, mahalagang concept din to sa mga functions kasi ginagamit natin to kapag nag-aral tayo ng calculus. So, ano ba yung composition of function? Sasabi, ito raw yung pag-evaluate ng isang function sa another function. So, ibig sabihin, kung meron tayong function f of x at meron pa tayong another function na g of x, pwede nating evaluate yung f of x sa g of x or evaluate yung g of x sa f of x. Diba kapag nag-evaluate tayo ng function, usually ang nilalagay natin sa loob ng parenthesis ay value, let's say number. F of 2, f of negative 3, and so on. Ngayon, pwede rin i-substitute yung isang another function sa loob ng parenthesis. Meaning yung lahat ng x's o independent variable nyo dun sa given function ay papalitan nyo nung function value mismo nung isa pang function. So parang f circle g of x is the same as evaluate nyo yung f, yung naunang function, doon sa pangalawang function g of x. So kapag binalatad ko g circle f of x, yung outside function nyo this time ay g of x. Siya yung i-evaluate nyo doon sa inside function na f of x. Okay? So let's illustrate. So number 1, we have f of x is equal to 3x squared plus 5x minus 2 and g of x is equal to 2x minus 3. So sabi, find g of f of x. So i-evaluate natin yung function g of x doon sa f of x. So isa-substitute natin sa lahat ng x ng g of x yung function mismo na f of x. So we have 2 times yung x, papalitan natin ng f of x. So 2 times f of x minus 3. So, kopya lang natin tong given function na 2x minus 3. And then, palitan natin ngayon yung f of x, yung actual value niya in terms of x. So, we have 2 times f of x is 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. So, ito yun, di ba? Minus 3. Then, simplify nyo lang. Distribute nyo yung 2. So, we have 6x squared plus 10x minus 4 minus 3. Simplify 6x squared plus 10x, negative 4 minus 3 is negative 7. So therefore, g of f of x or g circle f is 6x squared plus 10x minus 7. Next, this time baliktad naman, f of g of x. This time, ang i-evaluate natin ay f of x sa value na g of x. So papalitan natin lahat ng x ng f of x ng mismong g of x function. So we have f of g of x is equal to, so we have 3x squared, right? So 3, and then yung x, papalitan natin ng mismong g of x. So we have 3 times g of x quantity squared plus 5 times yung x, papalitan ulit natin ng g of x minus 2. Ngayon, i-change na natin yung actual value ng g of x in terms of x. So we have 3 times g of x is 2x minus 3, right? So 2x minus 3 quantity squared plus 5 times 2x minus 3 ulit minus 2. Then, simplify natin. So, we have square of a binomial. So, we have 4x squared minus 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x times 2 is negative 12x. Negative 3 squared is, negative quantity squared is positive 9. Plus, distribute. 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15 minus 2. Then, distribute ulit si 3. So, we have 12x squared minus 36x plus 27 plus 10x minus 15 minus 2. Okay, so combine similar terms, we have 12x squared, negative 36 plus 10x is negative 26x, 27 minus 15 minus 2 is positive 10. So therefore, f of g of x natin ay equal sa 12x squared minus 26x plus 10. Okay? Next, we have f of g of 2. So, this time, yung composite function natin, meron ng value ng x, which is yung 2. So, meron tayong 2 ways ng pagsasolve dito. So, yung first way muna, evaluate muna natin tong f of g of x. Tapos, pag nakuha na natin yung f of g of x function, saka natin isa-substitute doon sa bawat x ng nabuong function, yung inside number na 2. Okay, so, di ba nakuha na natin tong f of g of x na 12x squared minus 26x plus 10. So, pag sinubstitute ngayon natin yung 2 doon sa bawat x's ng f of g of x natin, magiging 12 times 2 squared minus 26 times 2 plus 10. So we have 12 times 2 squared is 4 minus 26 times 2 is 52 plus 10. We have 12 times 4 is 48 minus 56 plus 10, or simply 48 minus 56 plus 10 is 6. So therefore, our answer for f of g of 2 is 6. Or, pwede nyo munang hanapin yung mismong g of 2. So, evaluate nyo muna yung g of 2. Diba yung g of x natin ay 2x minus 3. So, 2 times, so g of x is 2x minus 3. Substitute nyo yung 2 dun sa 2x minus 3. So, we have 2 times 2 minus 3. 4 minus 3 or 1. So, ngayon, yung g of 2 nyo ay 1 na, diba? Ngayon, substitute nyo ngayon dito sa f of x. So, f of g of 2 is now 1. So, ngayon, yung 1, ang substitute nyo ngayon dito sa function nyo naman dito naman sa f of x nyo na 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. So, f of x is 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. Diba? So, substitute nyo ngayon yung 1 sa bawat x's ng f of x. Kasi nga yung nakuha nating value ng g of 2 ay 1. So, we have 3 times 1 squared plus 5 times 1 minus 2. So, we have 3 times 1 plus 5 minus 2, or simply 3 plus 5 minus 2 or 6 pa rin. So, therefore, tama yung sagot natin sa dalawang solutions. Okay? So, that's it for this topic, evaluation and operations on functions. So, basically, kapag mag-evaluate tayo ng function, substitute lang natin yung given number or value doon sa lahat ng independent variable natin doon sa function. And then, apply natin kung ano man yung operations na involved. Tapos, pwede rin tayong mag-add, subtract, multiply, and divide ng functions. Substitute nyo lang kung ano yung given functions na i-operate. And then, meron din tayong composition of functions, wherein pwede nyo ring i-evaluate yung isang function sa another function, other than a specific value of a number. Okay? So, that's it for this video. So, sana ay may natutunan kayo sa video na to at maraming salamat sa panonood.